That's weird. Yeah. Right, just a couple more minutes.
Hey, Matt,
Yeah.
we're using the other room.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know my phone. Morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Yes.
I've got a big yellow block here that says why Facebook. How the hell do I get rid of that?
That's me. It's supposed to be there.
Oh,
Boy,
I
what
don't
do I
like
hurt
it.
somebody's feelings?
You hurt my feelings. I don't like it.
No, you hurt Andy's feelings. He worked hard to make that.
I don't care.
It's a PowerPoint. It'll move here in a second. We're just waiting to see if Chris will join us. Which there he is. Hey,
Now I'm going nuts again. Why am I going nuts?
can you hear me, Chris? Dan just sent out an email a second ago. We're in the old meeting space. For some reason, we were having issues with the new one because I have to be able to share my screen.
Why am I bouncing around?
What passcode are you using? The 4ZZYGU?
And hold still, Steve.
Your like caps lock?
I'm not doing anything. Why is it doing that?
I think you've got a weird camera or something.
Well, I don't know. How do I
Yeah.
fix it?
I don't know.
Got an iffy connection.
I got a what?
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Fine.
Somebody talk to me.
Hello, Steve.
Hello. Why is that going wacky?
I don't know. We need to have somebody stop by and take a look at that for you. Because I think it's something with your computer. Something with your display is not quite right.
Does that happen any other time, Steve?
No, it used to be just fine. And then the last couple times it went nuts.
Yeah, it never used to do that for you.
Well, somebody come and help me.
Try and send somebody your way. I think we're just waiting on Shannon. I'm going to give a couple more minutes to see if she'll join us. And
Can you come and fix it, Bruce?
Sure, I'll be right there.
Okay. Let me know. I'll put the dog away.
All right.
Why are we recording this?
So that people that are not with us can watch it later. It's one of the new functions of the paid version.
Once is not enough, Steve.
I'm going back to bed. This thing just drives me nuts. I can't figure it out.
The day's young, Steve. There's too much fun to be had. Yeah.
Well, what kind of medication are you on?
Coffee. Lots and lots of coffee.
Doesn't work for me anymore.
Might be time for a caffeine break.
No, Dan sent the login stuff via email. We're in the old room.
Zoom radio. Hide video. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. That don't help.
Okay, farm question here. I'm looking through some auctions, and one of the things they've got listed is a concrete stave silo. Can they be taken down and reset?
What was it then?
A concrete stave silo. So it's just a
What about
silo, 12 foot by 40 foot. It's
What do you wanna know?
auction, so I assume they can take them down and reset them?
Yep,
Okay.
Yep.
sure can.
Interesting.
Yeah. Fred Lee had two concrete silos on his farm, and I think he actually got paid for them. And guys came and took them down and took them away and put them up somewhere else.
All right.
I don't know what I did. I'm not pixelating anymore.
Well, you
Yeah,
fixed it.
looks good.
You look much better,
Somebody
Steve.
move.
Thanks. I am kind of cute, aren't
You're adorable.
I? Thanks. I don't know what I did. I just kept hitting buttons.
Well, do that again next time it doesn't.
Okay.
I like it the other way, Steve.
No, no
Thanks,
different
Chris.
button.
Appreciate that. Where are we?
Looks like the office is empty.
Yeah.
It does
Where's
look
the
like
person?
office is empty.
Where's Fred Mang?
I don't know. I know Becky's family's got a bug going around, so she may be doing that.
Hey, Bruce, you're not even on the pie chart.
Oh,
Wow, shots fired.
What's up with that, boss?
I know. I need more accounts. I got a lousy account file.
I've heard that before.
Can I assume you just want active good accounts?
Yeah, that's all we do. I want.
Hey, I've heard all the excuses, so I got a whole list of them.
Oh, I'm going crazy again.
You sure?
All right, Tina, I just emailed you the link. Well, maybe my email went under freeze.
Whoa.
What was that?
We're getting Tina set up. There's a little bit of an echo. All right. Unless you need to talk, those of us that are in the office, please mute your mics. Cool.
You can watch it. You just won't be.
We have a little bit
visible.
of a reverb
Yeah.
problem in the office. We're all using it.
Can you see me?
All right, are you in?
Yeah. You're not jumping around again.
But you can see me?
Yes.
I can't see me anymore. I got myself out somehow. So,
We
all
can see you, but you're not jumping around again.
right. Well, I'm here. Okay. Well, if you can see me, you know that.
Yeah.
I'm a little slow.
I have this stupid cold that's driving me nuts.
I had one of them the end of last year and it wouldn't go away.
All right.
Hmm.
I think we're gonna get started. Most everybody has joined us. I'm hoping Shannon will be here momentarily. but we are going to go ahead and get started here.
Go.
So the basic impetus of this was there's still this actually came about a conversation with Chris at one point about digital at large and where we're at as a company with that, and not really getting the why of Facebook. Sometimes it just seems like not a throwaway, because we don't want to think about anything we do here as a throwaway, but an added value thing. Yeah, we'll throw it out there. You might get a couple sets of eyes on it. I don't really get it, but it's something we offer, so I'm going to add it onto this proposal. And sometimes the basic gist of that conversation, and there have been other conversations like that with other people, was, I understand people use it for their personal use. They use it to keep in touch with kids, grandkids, friends, family, but what really is there really an application for us as a business? Like, is it really worth it? Is it really something that we should be spending our time on or devoting our time to? What are the ramifications for us as a business? So this is just me based on my personal experience and a tiny bit of research I was able to do the other day to sort of augment that. As I said, I have not rehearsed this, so I'm going to do my best to get through it in a timely fashion. My goal today is to not talk a lot. We all know I can talk a lot if I'm let run loose. So I'm going to try and keep a cap on that and get through this quickly. And my goal for today is to hopefully be able to talk through any questions that anybody might have, because with the ability of the screen sharing function, we're able to pull up Facebook and walk through a couple of things. So be thinking, if there's any question, there's no such thing as a silly question. If there's anything that you're like, I just don't get, or I don't know how this function works, or this doesn't quite make sense to me, let me know. I'm more than happy to walk through that and do my best to explain it to you. So starting at the beginning, here's some screenshots of obviously a few of our different offerings through Facebook. This all started a good almost 20 years ago now at this point, almost to the day. Mark Zuckerberg, we're all familiar with that name in the news, whatnot, not necessarily some great ramifications currently with the state of things, but this journey with Facebook began all the way back in 2003 when Mark Zuckerberg was a student at Harvard University, and he created a website that was less than reputable. It was like a dating type website called Face Smash, which was inspired by an equally salacious site called Hot or Not. And basically he got in trouble with campus administration for that site. The site was shut down, but that sort of laid the groundwork in his mind for a type of connector site. The definition, I had never heard of a Facebook before, but I had looked that up. A Facebook is a student directory featuring photos and personal information. As of 2003, when this process began, Harvard only had a paper version along with private online directories for student use only. So basically the wheels started turning, and he said, let's take this out of the dating circle, and what if we were able to make a broadly accessible Facebook or student directory for the entire student body to be able to benefit from, and have an online version of that to connect everybody, to share everybody's information, so on and so forth. In January 2004, Zuckerberg coded a new website known as The Facebook. The has since been dropped from the URL, but The Facebook, inspired by a Harvard Crimson, their campus newspaper, editorial about the original Face Smash site, stating, "It's clear that the technology needed to create a centralized website is readily available, and the benefits are many." He then met up with some fellow students who would go on to invest in the company, and the company Facebook, as we know it, was then founded in 2004. Now, most of the first couple of years, their goal was purely and only focused on fellow universities. That began to grow and expand into other Ivy League schools, and then pretty soon they were reaching across the country to service other colleges and universities before even branching overseas. It did not actually become public access until 2006, the fall of 2006, Facebook opened to everyone at least 13 years of age or older with a valid email address. So there were a couple of years of development in there, but things grew so much. It was like, we have this great tool in our hands. This could really be a great resource to connect everybody. So why not make it open access? And why not open it to the public at large? Things continued to grow, and as of July of 2010, the company, so that's a growth of about 4 years. The company announced a total of 500 million users in July of 2010. Things just exploded, and that period of those first couple of years of the 2010s was a period of monumental growth for them. Some of the most recent statistics, things have only been growing for them over the last decade. Things have stagnated a little bit over the last couple of years, especially around the presidential election and whatnot. We all know what fun that was. But as of March 31st, 2022, so last year, Facebook is up to 2.94 billion users monthly. It is one of the most accessed websites in the entire world on a global basis, with millions of mobile users, billions of photo uploads, and billions of friend connections every year. So I really think, just if anything, that's what I want to drive home today, is just the scope of the numbers. The possibilities are endless. When you look at, even within the context of just the United States, millions, if not a couple billion users at our fingertips, the sky's the limit when it comes to making brand connections and connecting our vendors with their prospective customers. So I just wanted to walk through here. We won't park on this long, but I've included some screenshots so we can sort of see the progression of how things have grown. Up here in the left-hand corner, you'll see a screenshot of the original FaceMash site that Mark Zuckerberg created as a Harvard student. Obviously pretty streamlined, pretty archaic by current standards of where the internet is at. Then as of 2004, as I mentioned, the official The Facebook domain was purchased and that site came into being. You start to see a lot of the Facebook elements as we would come to know it. Obviously this logo has changed a lot in the last 20 years, but some of those, that's still the same typeface, I believe. So a lot of the elements that we still know at this point are there. Down here, we start to see some of like the profile picture elements and the news feed like we know it today start to develop. Then we get into the later 2000s and pushing the 2010s. This is where we start to see a lot of the elements that we can use today come into play. While not specifically geared towards business, 2009 was when the companion software platform was introduced to integrate other apps onto the Facebook platform. It's a lot of technical mumbo jumbo, but basically that interface allowed them to partner with other businesses and say, hey, why don't you host your app or your game on Facebook and make it available for Facebook users? So that's when you start to see all that and the advent of like Farmville and all of the apps that were really popular as far as games go. You start to see things become a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more crisp here around 2010. And here we have really the advent of Facebook advertising all the way back in 2012. I don't specifically remember this, but apparently this was one of the original Facebook ad campaigns all the way back in 2012. You start to see some additional add-ons here. This was not a very successful model. They dropped that because it was confusing having all of the icons on the side without a whole lot of explanation. So that didn't live long. That brings us into the current era, the last 10 years. Really not a whole lot has changed over the course of the last decade. You do see obviously some elements moving around, some wider, larger versus smaller margins. You see that changing here. And then really the last couple of years have not changed much at all. This is the quote unquote modern Facebook. As of 2019, really has not changed at all between 2019 and 2023. So this is, those of us that have a personal Facebook account, this is primarily what our personal pages are going to look like. So I am now going to attempt to go into my page, walk through this here. So this is my personal Facebook page. To talk through some of the elements there. Obviously, we have the cover photo and profile photo, all of my personal about info. But up here, all of the personal pages have a variety of different subsets to organize your information. I have my about section, which is like my biography. I have my friends section, which lists out everybody that I've connected with on Facebook. I have my photo section, which has all of my individual static photos. My videos, I only think I have a few, but there's a section to categorize any videos that you shared on Facebook. Check-ins is if I am, some people like that feature, some people don't really use it. If I'm at a restaurant with family or I'm at a family vacation, I might say, Andy Heyman is at Safari Great Adventure with Kayla and Tyler Everett, which is my sister and brother-in-law. It's basically just like a celebration. You're letting everybody know that you're out to dinner, having a great time with family, friends. Some people like to do that, some people don't. But that's what that check-in feature is. And then here is just, this is all pretty self-explanatory. This is all like different special interests, special interest tags, basically. Sports you like, certain musicians you like, movies you like or have watched recently. Basically, the goal is in sharing this info is to connect with other people that like the same stuff. That's primarily the goal on a personal level, on a personal page. Now, if we go to a business page, I'm going to take us to country culture. A lot of the elements are going to be the same. However, obviously, it's a virtual storefront, so it's going to look a little bit different because we're a business. We want things to look professional. So we're going to see a lot of the same elements up at the top, the cover photo, the profile photo, a lot of the same like biography information. So we've got all of our contact info here, website, email, phone number, so on and so forth. And you're going to see a lot of that echoed in the about section. Up here, I have the mentions tab. We haven't really had a lot of traffic on there, but that shows me as a business owner if somebody, Eaton Pet and Pasture is one of our previous clients with Country Culture, or Pat's Cedar Street Rental, for instance. They might have tagged us on their page and say, hey, really enjoyed working with Country Culture. Their team's doing great things over there. Be sure to check them out if you need any advertising. That lets me as a business owner know, oh, cool, they gave us a shout out. That's really awesome. And I get notification of that here. Reviews, this is any reviews of our business. I don't think there's anything on here much of yet anyway, but that lets me as a business owner know what the public is saying about our business here, the reviews tab. Followers is going to show me in greater detail this list of 989 people. Photos, again, is any photos we've shared as a business. And you don't really utilize this as much on a business page, but this is very similar to that same section on the personal page. If there's any causes that we're like, for instance, we have a lot of like local music acts that perform in Canajoharie here in Palatine Bridge for different venues like Music on Main Street, or for the Kansas Area Street Fair. So those might be like local acts that we're connected. It's not necessarily music and movies and whatever that I'm watching on my own time, but maybe they're local performers, local whatevers that have connected interests with us in our business that we're connected to. That's the type of thing that you would utilize this section more for as a business versus I am listening to this music on my private time, I'm watching this movie on my private time, XYZ. These are more like community connections or things that we have in common with other community entities, other local residents, other businesses, so on and so forth. A lot of the actual like timeline structure is going to be the same. I'm going to touch on this in a minute, but basically the beauty of Facebook, and I think a lot of the power as a resource for us is that anything can be monetized. We don't utilize it to its full potential. There's a lot of things that we could be getting extra cash flow out of Facebook. Basically, the structure we've chosen to run with, this is a photo post. That's all this is. This isn't anything special. This isn't a special advertising platform that's incorporated with Facebook. We're basically, as a company, going to our advertisers and saying, we want to give you the privilege of uploading your photo, your ad in this case, to our Facebook page for a fee. We will put your photo up in front of our thousands of followers and in the effort to connect you with potential customers. So that's all that this is. We're just monetizing on our own volition these photos, these photo posts as advertising. On a personal page, this would just be a normal photo. That's all that would be. But in this instance, we're utilizing this as ad space. So like this is a house ad, but down here we have the Cedar Street rental ad that Pat sold. Ad Inputs Plus is one that Becky Feldman sold. So those are just those photo posts, but that's what that is in context. We're selling those photo posts to our clients for a fee, obviously. I think that's everything in a nutshell. I know that's going very quickly, but let's jump back here. So Facebook itself has a lot of built-in ad options. We don't utilize those. Those are available. And in the future, I would like to see us segue into utilizing a lot more of Facebook's built-in ad features. You'll often notice an ad in your news feed if you use Facebook at all as you're scrolling that is not directly connected to a specific Facebook page. Like you'll notice you'll be scrolling and it'll yeah, I think this one even has a sponsor tag. So it's really hard to see, but up here in the corner, there's actually a sponsored tag underneath the online labels header or whatever. But basically they have paid Facebook for that space, and that's showing up in your news feed because at some point or another, like I was probably looking at commercial print type stuff. So it pinged, hey, this might be of interest to you. And they have paid Facebook for that space for a certain duration of time. And because I'm looking at like-minded stuff, the algorithm was like, hey, we're going to put this in front of you in case this is of interest to you. I've sort of done a kind of a silly little diagram here, but this is sort of in line like what I'm talking about. So there might be a Facebook post and a photo and another post, and then this ad would show up in your timeline as you're scrolling top to bottom.
Andy, can I interrupt on those ad things?
Sure.
How long do they stay on Facebook? Is it something that they post for them and then it goes away, or does it stay on the Facebook feed?
So the paid Facebook marketing through Facebook's actual site, those are campaigns, much of a similar idea to what we do with email. But basically what they're paying for is a certain amount of dates. With us monetizing the Facebook photo posts, those have an infinite shelf life because really and truthfully, we're allowed to do it, and we do. Those aren't intended for advertising. It's intrinsically a photo post, like I said. So those are just going to live on indefinitely on our Facebook page, and any reader, any potential customer, so on and so forth, can go on our Facebook page and scroll through our previous posts and go, oh, cool, that looks really interesting. I think I'm going to give them a call. With the Facebook website advertising options, those are campaigns where they basically set dates. I'm going to start it on this date. I'm going to pay X amount of money per day, and it's going to run to this calendar date, and then it's going to be done. So these, what I'm talking about here, these have finite shelf life, a limited shelf life. You also sometimes will see while you're browsing Facebook some margin type positions. I've included a diagram here. Like imagine this is your Facebook feed. They show up on the side. Those are some options as well. Again, not really territory we've gotten into yet. I don't think we're there quite yet, but it's definitely something to consider for the future, because these options would be available to us as well. We would probably just upsell that to the client, so we could quote that out through Facebook for ourselves. Hey, it would cost the client this much money to run for 2 weeks. We mark that up a little bit, and we go to the client and say, hey, we can set up this campaign for you from this date to this date, and run that for them. Right now, we're just going to stick to the photo posts in the timeline like we do for all of our Facebook pages, but this is definitely something I'd like us to keep in mind for sure. And just to reiterate everything that we've talked about, anything can be monetized on the entire site. Here is a picture of one of Matt's clients, McGrew. They've recently done a lot of different digital with us. So that is an example, again, of what I'm talking about, those inline photo posts. And something I'm gonna harp on this again later, because I think it comes up in my notes, but something I want to see us do a little bit better at, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, it's something we all need to improve on. But let's do what we can to get captions when we're selling Facebook ads. Even if it's something you feel is out of your wheelhouse or you don't want to come up with on your own, have the client send you over a couple of sentences to go with the Facebook ad when you're setting that up, because it just makes it look a little bit more polished. It helps give a little bit more context for the client and what they're trying to sell. So for this, McGrew is an equipment auction company. So check out McGrew for all your spring equipment needs or something like that. It can be very short and sweet. And again, if it's not something that you're comfortable with or you don't feel creative enough or whatnot, just ask the client. Say, hey, when you send that over, I need a quick caption for Facebook. Can you send over a couple of sentences for me for that? And then basically that would go here under the Country Folks information and above the website here. So you would have like caption and then the website. So it would be Country Folks logo, caption, and then the website. But check out the link here. This is something we don't see a lot of, but it was just something in the interest of throwing that out there as something that also can be monetized. You can monetize access to Facebook groups. I don't know if many of you have a lot of experience with Facebook groups. I know some of you do, but Facebook recently did roll out an update that allows us to do that. So we could, I'm trying to think of a good example. If we wanted to, and it's not something that's on the agenda anytime in the near future that I'm aware of, but if we wanted to, we could have like a Friends of Country Folks group, and for a certain fee every month, and I don't know how much that runs, I have no experience with that, but for a certain fee, we could basically charge people for access to that, like a subscription service every month, and maybe bill it as information just for you, information that isn't making it into the newspaper, that isn't making it into the newsletter. This is special subscriber content. That's sort of how that would work. And there's a million different applications for that, but that's also something else that can be monetized through Facebook. Facebook also allows you to set up a shop interface through their site. And I'm using Matt and Janet's shop, Lee Shops at Wagner Square, as an example here. But there are a lot of different tie-in options. Things have evolved so much now that they're basically able to automate every aspect of the sales process. So it's like going to your favorite retailer online. I don't know how much you guys shop online, but you can go to any store, Target, Walmart, Tractor Supply, I think even like Lowe's, Home Depot, and facilitate the entire sales process from picking out the item to paying for it to shipping it to your home, all within a couple of quick steps on the website. Obviously, every site, every format looks a little bit different, but you are able to do pretty much all of that online through Facebook. This is the actual page. So you can see they got their items listed out here. And if I look up here, I've got my cart showing my cart is empty currently. And the shop menu, the business info. So that's all pretty straightforward. It's a pretty nice format. There's not a lot of extra noise. You can just find whatever item you're looking for. There is a search function as well. I've included a specific item listing here, so you can see sort of what that would look like. There's the buy now function, secure checkout on Facebook, and then like all the shipping and return information as well. These logos you'll notice up here in the right hand corner, all those are basically tie-in platforms that Facebook works with. That can get very confusing and whatever, but those are different plugins that work with the shop format, the shop pages on Facebook to make all of that happen. It's a bunch of different puzzle pieces that work together to get the shopper from point A to point B. And a lot of these platforms offer different services that help you automate your Facebook shop and help everything go smoothly for you from start to finish as a seller. So yeah, that's really cool. That's not really something we would take advantage of. We could definitely we could definitely sell merch on Facebook in a format like this, and that's not something we've utilized yet, but we could definitely do that. This would be more, I just want to give you an idea of what's available to potential businesses out there as far as monetizing things or selling things through Facebook. And then we get to our stacked page. I sent this back out in an email this morning. I don't know if everybody got that, but a lot of that information is here in the PowerPoint. So you can look on if you don't have that. But I just wanted to really drive home the statistics and the numbers so we can see how far-reaching this is and how big of a potential audience this is for us. 43.2% of Facebook's global users are female, and 56.8% of Facebook's global users are male. That was surprising to me. That's sort of an unconscious bias there, but you just, I think, just take for granted that it's more, you would see more of a female and more of a female user base. That was surprising to me to see a larger male percentage. Facebook is the third most visited website in the world, which is pretty impressive. Facebook has 2.934 billion monthly active users, and 1.968 billion people use the platform daily. That's insane. Let's see if I can move my Facebook's monthly active users equate to 36.8% of all people on Earth today. In perspective, that's larger than the total populations of China and India combined. So that's huge. That's astronomical. Boiling that down under that umbrella to the United States statistics, which is where we would come into play, 70% of American adults use Facebook. And Facebook ads themselves reach 62.6% of all Americans aged 13 plus. And up above here, we have a graph showing demographics by age. So obviously, you know, there is a higher demographic with the younger crowd, with the 18 to 44 specifically, but you're still seeing a lot of users here, even in middle age and onward. So it's definitely not something to sneeze at. I think it's easy to think that this is a younger people's game or something like that, but you really are seeing a really broad spectrum of users. It's just become such a commonplace and such a good connective tool for us socially, intellectually, economically. So I think we see a pretty broad subsection there of people. There are some stats that I added to the sheet that didn't make it into the PowerPoint. Americans spend about 33 minutes on the website daily, and that's a pretty good chunk of time. 60% of all consumers or customers use Facebook to obtain customer service, and 69% of marketers, which would be us, provide customer services through Facebook. So that's a pretty good chunk of the economy and the market as well. According to a study by Insider Intelligence eMarketer entity, Facebook has the highest number of social commerce buyers. By 2023, that will be 65%. So basically what that's saying is of any platform online that's set up this way for buyers, for shoppers, they have the most, the highest percentage of shoppers. So it's really, we've got a lot of eyes on this platform, and I think it's really something that we can be and we should be leveraging even more than we are. I've included some existing and previous, except for Tractor Supply. I don't think they're a subscriber or they're an advertiser, but these are some current and prior advertisers here that I've included for our purposes from our pages. And here you can sort of see, obviously they don't all have links, but you can see what I'm talking about, hopefully with the caption text. But here for AgriTrack, I think that's something that we wrote for them, but there's a couple sentences here explaining what they're up to, where you could find them next. In this case, that was the New York Farm Show, and then Nick's listed their website here. It's a little bit harder to see, but there's a similar setup here for RTI. There's a sentence or two, and then the website, and obviously there's some captions here as well. And then this was just an example, once again, for what I was talking about. We're going to have, this is what a sample post would look like. We have the artwork, we have the caption. All I meant by the red X was we don't really want the website by itself. It just looks a little bit unfinished. So here we have the website incorporated into the caption. Analytics are available for Facebook once your client has run their ad. That is something we can provide. It's not something we've really taken advantage of in the near past, but that is available. You can request that. All we ask is that you give a couple of days of time for us to get that information together for you. But that is something that we can look into for you as you need it. I did want to touch on one other thing, and then we've taken a good half hour here, if not longer. So I will get to questions here really fast, but I did want to show something. So I am going into the country culture, like management tab here, into our insights, which is basically our analytics. Becky Mock had mentioned the concept of boosted posts and wanted me to talk through that. So basically, when we post something on our Facebook pages, it's only reaching our audience, our specific audience. So our country culture page right now has 981 followers, and our Instagram page has 191 followers. we can pay money to boost our pages. So basically what that means is for that specific ad, I would go in and pay a certain amount of money per day to reach additional pairs of eyes. So I would be paying money for Facebook to take my ad and do what I talked about at the beginning and put that through the algorithm, put that in front of other people. Hey, you might be interested in this. I don't know if you've seen this product or service or this company, but we think you might be interested in this. And there are people that aren't normally connected to our page, but they have similar interests, they come from similar walks of life, and Facebook is able to take our advertisers' information and put it in front of those people and say, hey, we think this might be something that you're interested in. Obviously, this number is astronomical. This is shooting pretty large. This just gives you an idea of what is possible. Obviously, you're going to have to spend commensurate amounts of money for that, but that's a pretty significant increase from our follower number here of 981 to obviously this number here. So that is something that's available to us. It's not really something we utilize with advertisers. We use that to boost our own page, our own house ad information, our own ads for LeapHub and promoting ourselves. But that is something that is available on Facebook. So now I know I've taken a lot of your time. Sorry that there's a lot to get through and I didn't want to miss stuff. But does anybody have any questions? I will do my best to answer them.
Well, I don't have any questions, but I use Facebook a lot, and I started using it a lot when Kelly and I were running a bed and breakfast because you needed to be able to reach out. That didn't lend itself to print media because we had guests coming from Boston, Philadelphia, Ontario, so we did use that and did target advertising based on that. Hence, I have like 4,000 friends on Facebook. But I actually use it for a search engine because a lot of new businesses don't even have a website anymore, or not yet. It's a very reliable search engine. You type it in, and the one thing I have found, which has been helpful, is it will find, if you like a business, it will bring up a whole bunch of other businesses that may be very similar. And you can get a lot of leads that way. So, yeah, I use it a lot for looking for leads and keeping track of my own customers. I like my own customers, make sure I follow them so you can see what they're doing. And then you got to like their posts every once in a while or you don't see their stuff anymore. So just kind of go through and like their posts, and it's a good tool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that's important too. That's something that we can all be doing. We can help ourselves boost our own pages by liking stuff periodically, and you can also help your customers. You can help your clients by sharing stuff and sharing auctions that come up, special sales. We can help boost that traffic and get additional eyes on their promotionals. So yeah, that's huge. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I do want to leave time for if anybody does have any questions. And you can always hit me up afterwards too, or whenever.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Your mic's muted. Your mic's muted.
There we go, unmuted. For clarity, what is the charge for Facebook posting?
So there is some variation there, depending on the math checks out. It's listed different ways in some of the different media kits, but the math does check out in most every location to about $100 for 3 posts. Because it is still to a certain degree undiscovered country or something we're getting comfortable with as a company and getting more competent with as a company, it's cheaper. There's no overhead for it, so we don't have to charge a lot. That is flexible, and just to your manager if there's any question on that. But generally speaking, we charge $100 for the 3 posts.
And when they do those 3 posts, is that over a period of time, or it's strictly up to the customer's choice?
So we try and tell everyone to only post once a week. That's what we try and direct everybody to. I'm not opposed to like a Monday and a Friday date of the same week, but it's sort of the same concept as what we tell everybody about keeping the paper fresh versus letting it go stale, with constantly having the same advertisers front and center. We want to make sure that we're rotating everybody through in a timely fashion and keeping everything fresh in front of readers. So I tend to try and reiterate that with everybody, that we want to do one post a week. You can schedule them whenever. You just have to keep up with them. So you could do like 3 consecutive Mondays, let's say, or you could do once a month over the course of 3 months. That's entirely up to you and the client, whatever you want to decide. And they may not care. That may just be something that they're like, just get it up there, whatever you think works. But yes, you can. There's a lot of flexibility there. We just ask that you keep up with them and make sure you have a tally of what they've run versus what they still have yet to run. But you can run you can run them all together, or you can spread them out. That's entirely up to you.
Thank you.
Well, if there's no other questions, it's 9 o'clock here, so I'm gonna let you go unless Dan or Bruce have anything to add. Thank you for your attention. I'm sorry if I talked too long, but I just wanted to make sure I covered as much information as possible. And I thank you for listening. Hopefully it was helpful to you. I don't know if I'll get to it today or not, but hopefully our recording was successful here, and I'm gonna make that available via YouTube as well, so that you can reference it back if that's helpful. So unless there's anything to add, we will bid you all adieu, and I hope you have a great day today.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.